Yo, what's up? Today we are gonna check Corrupting Fever Gladiator bow character using Tornado Shot as the main skill, but obviously Corrupting Fever is the damage dealer. We are gonna check those later on. So this is a bow character, this is a range character. This is an S tier mapper. The mapping is super fun and fast. You can do Nemesis Beyond Farm, Legion Farm. You can just destroy the Legion in a couple of seconds. This is the probably only build that I could let's say unlock or kill, whatever it is called, the whole Legion before the time runs out. Because on most builds there are you know, a couple of monsters left and you cannot find them because God knows where they are, you know. But this skill, we are using Tornado Shot with chain support, whatever, GMP projectiles, lots of projectiles going on, and that's why you can easily hit all the targets. So this is probably the only build that I played that can actually kill the entire Legion before the time runs out. So this is the perfect build for those kind of farms. The build can also kill bosses easily once you finish your pieces, you know, level your gems, finish everything. If you have a similar gear like I did, I had actually like 9.5 million damage, a DPS, let's say almost 10 million. So that is very good for a dot build. Most dot builds have way less than that. So this is also a very good boss killer. You won't have any problems. The character has huge armor, some regeneration, and because it's a range build, you will already dodge most of the stuff. So this is also a tanky build. So this is a build for you if you want a tanky archer that can do like 90% of the content. Yeah, let's just start. So Corrupting Fever is a damage over time skill. There's actually a spell. You need to press it. You will have a buff on you, and you can apply that damage over time. You can stack those corrupted blood. This is actually like corrupted blood. The enemies that do to you, you know. You can just die to that if you're not immune or if you don't use a flask with the effect. So this is actually a similar. You are actually getting your revenge on the monsters with the skill. You want to obviously boost the gem level like any kind of these kind of spell builds. So we obviously use Empower, that makes the build obviously a little bit more expensive than usual. Brutality support, physical, life tap, so you don't actually worry about mana at all. I actually reserved like almost all my mana. All my skills have life tap attached. There is actually a reason for that also. So let's just read the bottom line. Buff duration is refreshed after you spend a total of something mana, life. Pardon. So this means that you need to actually use life so you can actually sustain the skill. So once you enter a map, you just press your Corrupting Fever, and after that you actually do not need to do that again unless you stop for something, you maybe to loot or whatever. So as long as you keep shooting, Tornado Shot also has life tap attached, obviously. You can actually refresh the duration. So because once you have very high level of Corrupting Fever, it actually starts to cost so much you cannot actually activate it. To fix that issue, you need an rare amulet, which you will already gonna craft or buy with an open suffix. So you can actually craft skills cost no mana or life while focused. So this is how to start playing the build. You need to make sure that you have all these ready. So because right now I believe my Corrupting Fever costs like 12 or 13, I believe, K life. 13k life. There is no way that I can press that button. It is actually blacked out, you know, you cannot press it normally. But once I press my focus button, thanks to the amulet, so make sure you craft that on your amulet, it is actually free, and I can just start the map with that, you know, just press focus, press Corrupting Fever, and that's it. You also need to do this before entering a boss, obviously. So that is how to start the skill. After that, you will obviously spend life from all of your skills. That way it can actually get refreshed thanks to its own unique speciality, you know, because it says buff duration is refreshed after you spend a total of something life. So that is how to play the build. So the main skill is obviously Tornado Shot, because that has a very good clear speed with lots of projectiles and chain. So this is another 6-link setup. It doesn't matter. Whatever. Alright. You need to put Corrupting Fever in your weapon, because that is probably gonna have +1 gems or those kind of stuff. We are gonna check items in a second. So yeah, you should put Corrupting Fever in your bow because your bow will have some gem modifiers, but you should put Tornado Shot in your body armor. So we want obviously GMP, life tap, chain support, so we can boost the clear. Gladiator also has explosion, so that is why the character has S tier map clear and can also unlock legions easily. So that's pretty much it about the gems we are using. Maybe I will check the rest later on in Path of Building, but no need to explain those actually. So let's just start with the items, what you should focus on. I actually finished the build with around 50 Exalt. Most people's gear is actually more than 100 Exalt, so I also tried to make this build cheaper and still have almost 10 million damage with lots of defense. So this is an S tier build, I believe, with this budget, let's say. So let's start with the bow. A rare bow. Good attack speed is important, so if you want to craft this on your own, you should probably pick, you know, ticket bow or grow bow, those kind of fast bows. So you want +1 gems, damage over time multiplier, physical damage over time multiplier, physical damage over time, anything that boosts dot damage. This is a physical dot build. Obviously multi-modding helps a lot because you can put +2 support gems, which will boost the level of all supports, which includes Empower. So if you stick Empower into this, right now my Empower is level 7. If you have a level 4, it becomes level 7 Empower, which actually increases the gem level by 6. So my Corrupting Fever is actually level 30. So it is important to increase the gem level of Corrupting Fever, otherwise you will lose millions of damage. So before starting to play this build, make sure you buy or craft a good bow. I believe there are crafting videos for these kind of bows, because I don't do much bow craft. I'm not gonna give you some hints, you know. But I know that these are on Warlord bases, so maybe you should slam Warlord Exalt later on, something like that, with maybe block something. Cannot roll, maybe attack modifiers, those kind of stuff. Maybe you need to do something like that, so make sure you do your investigation, you know, research, if you want to craft it on your own, because I just bought it from someone, because this is a meta build. There are lots of results, so this bow was not that expensive actually, less than 10 Exalt, I believe. So yeah, it is easy to buy, and this is your end game bow. So maybe skip 1 damage over time modifier if you have a lower budget, and that's gonna be pretty much it. For the Quiver, Maloney's mechanism, you can start with a rare Quiver with physical damage over time multiplier, those kind of stuff if you want. If this is expensive, right now this is not that expensive. But at a new league, maybe it will be a little hard to find this at first weeks for cheaper, let's say, because this doesn't have very high drop chance, let's say. But later on this will be cheaper, obviously, so you should probably play with this. So the reason we are using this, it obviously provides life attack speed, but it has trigger a socketed bow skill when you attack with a bow. So that way you can actually use Frenzy, Maim, and again life tap, because we don't have much mana left, setup. So we can actually generate frenzy charges, which will provide huge DPS. We are also playing as Gladiator, that's why we have Outmatch and Outlast. Notable that he has more physical damage while at maximum frenzy charges, so another 10% physical damage. You can also invest in frenzy charges if you can, to even boost the damage, you know, further, but I didn't do that. So this Quiver is good for single target damage mostly, because we can generate frenzy charges. You can maybe play with Farul's Fury to generate frenzy charges, even replica Farul's Fury for both of the charges. You can do that, because that is how people used to play bleed ball builds, which is dead right now. I actually want to try that one day, but I'm not sure. That is actually how we played bleed ball builds, but this is a physical dot build, similar, but this is not a bleed build, obviously. Corrupting Fever is not a bleed. And so yeah, you can also use Farul's Fury or replica Farul's Fury and use another Quiver. So yeah, for the body armor, if you don't want to use Farul, obviously this is what I used: an astral plate with effect of non-curse auras. That's it, nothing special, very cheap and easy to craft. You obviously boost the auras effects, which are gonna be, let's also show them right now: Malevolence, Fright, Determination. I believe that's it about the auras. Yeah, we also have Herald of Purity, War Banner, those kind of stuff, but we can check them later on. So these are your auras, so this chest piece will also boost them, so you will have more defense and also DPS thanks to that. Gloves. So first of all, apothecary, I don't know how to pronounce that. Gloves is good for DPS because it provides damage over time on its implicit. So make sure you buy and craft on it if you want. So this is actually a little luxury item. You can skip the double influence if you want and start with a 1 influenced one. So physical damage over time multiplier is obviously good for more DPS on what is this, hunter bases. On warlord bases there is culling strike, so you can actually kill bosses faster, but you can skip that. Again, just focus on that damage over time multiplier if you want, and combine the both if you want with Awakener orb and craft a good gloves. And that's pretty much it, nothing else to explain. Boots, I just focused on resistances and life, that's it. This was only to keep those, you know, resistances. I don't even have boots enchant, by the way. It is cold damage something, it doesn't work for this build. There is not an enchant to boost the DPS as far as I know for this build. You can maybe get regeneration for more healing, or maybe attack speed for faster mapping if you want. They obviously work for this build. If you have a higher budget, consider using influenced boots if you want, but I didn't bother because again I wanted to make this build under 50 Exalt. That's why I skipped some expensive pieces. Amulet, gem level is super important, that's why +1 physical and +1 strength on hunter and warlord bases. Combine the both with Awakener orb again. For the base type, the build will need some dex and intelligence, that's why something like Onyx Amulet is good, so you need to get some dex and intelligence maybe. So that's why you should pick something like that. If the suffixes are shit, you can do prefixes cannot be changed and use Reforge Rare as physical from Harvestcraft and try to get that physical damage over time multiplier on the suffix so you can have a better amulet in the end. But you should also make sure that your amulet has an open suffix so you can actually craft skills cost no mana or life while focused. That is super important. Otherwise you cannot even press the skill. So this is a core stat, let's say, that you should craft. For the anoint, I picked charisma because I reserve lots of buffs and auras, and that is super important. For the rings, so I will just first explain the unique ring that I am using. Circle of Guild. We are using Herald of Purity for physical damage. It is a buff that grants physical damage. If you also use the ring, it will buff that effect a lot. So you want to get the combination. Herald of Purity has effect and physical damage. So this ring has actually other combinations that that can happen. You need to search for this exact one. This is also gonna be the most expensive one because the other combinations are mostly non-meta or shit. This was like 3 Exalt in Scourge League and not that expensive for an endgame build. So just get one once you have the budget. If you have mana problems, maybe you can also get that mana efficiency plus a buff effect or physical damage. So you can also focus on that mana problem if you have. That is also going to be super cheap because no one gets that version. The implicit are going to be random. If you need any good stats on implicit, there are lots of stats, so I don't even know most of them. So you can maybe get dexterity, attribute, intelligence, physical damage. I'm not sure what else can happen. Any resistances maybe, so try to maybe get a good implicit if you have the budget. So I will explain the second ring with the helmet together because that is a combination that I'm using. I wanted to make the build tankier and also cheaper. That's why I picked Viridi's Veil. Right now in Scourge League this helmet was very cheap because totem builds were not meta. But if you remember in Expedition League, totem builds were meta, that's why this helmet was very expensive. If something like that won't happen, you know, in future leagues, this is also gonna be a cheap helmet later on. So let's just explain the helmet if you are not familiar. If you have a magic ring equipped, damage of enemies hitting you is unlucky. And also, if you have a magic ring in your right ring slot, you are hexproof, meaning you cannot get, you know, curses on you. So that's why you are going to be curse immune actually, which is super important, especially in maps, because some curses are actually deadly. And also, if you have a magic ring in your left ring slot, you take no extra damage from crit strikes. I haven't went for that. My left ring slot is for my Circle of Guild, and my right ring slot is for my magic ring. The curse choice is vulnerability for this build because it provides physical damage increase, whatever. That's why you need to have a warlord ring. Use alteration orbs until you hit vulnerability, and maybe craft life from the bench or you can also use augment, orb of augmentation obviously, but you can craft 55 life. That is simply enough to just craft a ring with alterations, and that's gonna be your right ring slot. The ring for the right ring slot. For the base, I picked Amethyst to keep my chaos resist. I have kept chaos resist right now, so the base type can change. Actually, you can get another ring, even Vermilion ring, for more life if you want. So you want to put that magic ring on your right ring slot, so you are actually hex proof, so you don't get any curses. So I just wanted to make the build tankier, because the helmet is right now super cheap. No one uses this. I also got something with corruption. Socketed skill gems get 90% cost and reservation multiplier, which actually reduces the what it is called, reservation, obviously. Yeah, so this is where my auras are. This helmet also has +2 level of gems that actually boosts the auras, also the enlighten. So if you have a level 3 enlighten, which is what I am using for lower budget, obviously you don't need a 4 level, because that is super expensive and unnecessary. So a level 3 enlighten is gonna be level 5 in this helmet, plus the gems also gonna get 90% reservation multiplier. That also means another mana cost reduction for the reservations. So that is how you can reserve more auras thanks to this helmet. Also, you are gonna be tankier thanks to being hexproof, and enemies hitting you is unlucky. For the enchant, Tornado Shot fires an additional secondary projectile for better clear speed, obviously. Obviously, you cannot find this helmet enchant on the market on this corrupted base. That's why just buy the helmet with corruption cost reservation multiplier 90%, and go for TFT Discord. Find a trusted, good labyrinth service provider. Give the helmet to the person, you know, the labyrinth service booster, and maybe wait 1 or 2 days, because that depends on the service provider's speed and luck, obviously. But after that, your helm will be ready. Pay whatever the price it is. Tornado Shot was 4 exiled in Scourge League. That is what I paid, and your helmet is ready. You don't even need to do the labyrinth yourself. To just get help from a booster in TFT Discord. So that's pretty much it. It is actually way cheaper, and you are going to be way tankier compared to a rare helmet, in my opinion. And that is how I played the build. And you can also reserve lots of buffs in the end thanks to this, otherwise you cannot do that. Finally, belt. A Stygian vise. I needed dexterity, that's why I crafted this with Essence of Sorrow, I believe, the dexterity essence. If you don't need dexterity, if you maybe... You can also put dexterity on your boots or maybe gloves, alright? There are other pieces. But if you still need dexterity, you should also craft that belt with that. Focus on life resistances. If you still need, my belt actually don't have any resist at all. And if you have an open prefix, put damage for more DPS. And that's gonna be it about all the gear that we are using. So in this section, I'm gonna show you a couple of things in the path of building, maybe some gems that I forgot, obviously, and we can also take a look at the talent tree. I'm not gonna explain the flasks because there are lots of flasks that you can use these days, but I didn't even use a unique flask. You can use Rumi's concoction for block if you want, that works even on bow builds. But amethyst ring, amethyst flask, yeah, not ring, there is amethyst ring, for more chaos resist. Basalt for armor. You can also use granite, obviously, that also works. Sulfur for some DPS. Life flask, obviously, and a quicksilver for movement speed. This is right now wrong, yeah, because we are hexproof. This was my older flask. I will upload this. You will see the updated version once you are looking at the path of building. But right now in the video, this is wrong. Let's just delete that so I won't forget it. You can just use a quicksilver with movement speed, increase effect, those kind of stuff. Or if you need any immunity that we don't have, I just put actually shock and ignite on these flasks, and I'm using Brian King for freeze immunity, so I'm actually ailment immune. So yeah, just use another. Movement speed is probably better because you want to be fast. This is a fast, super fun mapper character. For the clusters, we are obviously using clusters because it is the easiest way to scale damage over time builds, because talent tree is not very good for those builds, in my opinion. Physical large, 8 points. Master the fundamentals for easier resist cap, also physical damage. Battle hardened, lots of evasion armor. This character has huge armor, so you won't have any problem against physical damage. Also some good resistances, so the character is super tanky in the end. Furious Assault, physical damage, attack speed, so this is a good combination. Maybe you can use another combinations, but I believe this is the best one. And this is fairly common, so people will just sell it all the time, so you can easily buy one. There's gonna be the same thing again here, I believe. So 2 clusters. For the mediums, these are cheaper mediums, by the way. These are not the best ones. I just used this to keep my chaos resist actually, because again I also wanted to do the build cheaper. Student of Decay, damage over time, and chaos resist. Circling Oblivion, again damage over time. So this is a very cheap combination. This actually provides less DPS, so there are better versions. So you can even push that 10 million DPS easily. Just go like this, craft type Jewel here, cluster, medium, pick that damage over time or physical, whatever it is. Just check what provides what DPS. You can just check like this. As you can see, I can see what how much DPS these provide. So in the end, maybe use something better. Brush with the death can be maybe better damage over time multiplier and life recover on kill, which is super good for mapping. So maybe get one of these, maybe 2 of those, you know. Get better jewels if you want, just check the DPS there. For rare jewels, physical damage over time multiplier, damage over time, life, strength for more life. If you still need dexterity, intelligence, also put those. These kind of stats, life, physical damage over time multiplier. Again, life, strength. I tried to squeeze in more life, so I picked some strengths on these. As you can see, these were not that expensive because most people do not search for these actually. For the Watcher's Eye, Malevolence, damage over time multiplier. This is gonna be a expensive upgrade, you know. You need to buy this later on. Just skip this at first. You still have almost 9 million damage. You won't miss that much. But obviously you should get this in the end, but you don't need this to start playing the build. I also got reduced reflect physical damage taken. This was a double Watcher's Eye because no one gets this. It was cheap. So with the Pantheon swap, actually I can also run physical reflect maps with Pantheon Yugul. 50% reduced reflect plus this 50, 100%. So I can actually run reflect maps. But I normally use Aberrat, or sometimes, I don't know, just use whatever you want. And that is how I played that. You don't need that second modifier, just get Malevolence damage over time multiplier. That is super important for more DPS. And that's pretty much it. Again, actually nothing else to explain. Same jewel, physical over time, life. For the gems, if I forgot anything, everything has life tap attached. Again, I have like this much mana, maybe even more. Maybe something is wrong in Path of Building right now. I'll just figure those out later on. But you need to reserve lots of mana. We don't need mana. Just put life tap on everything. Blood Rage already consumes life, so you don't need to do that. And that's pretty much it. We also use Flesh and Stone. You need to be in Blood Stance for the DPS. This provides huge DPS, as you can see. So make sure you are on Blood Stance. You need to press it so it's actually red, meaning that it is on Blood Stance. So this is also important. Check these qualities. If you think they are worthy, just also go for those. This provided more evasion and armor, that's why I bought that. Herald of Purity Taunts, so that also works for boss fights because bosses actually attack the purities instead of you, so that is very good. Nothing here. Dash Anomalous or travel distance, I like it a lot. So yeah, try to get those other qualities if you want. Check here, maybe use even something else that I am not using. Actually, there is also GMP with this one here, reduce cost. You can maybe go for that, but you don't need it because we are already on life tap, and we also need to consume life so we can actually refresh our corrupting fever. But if something happens, just press your focus button again, then you can use corrupting fever because it is free thanks to the amulet. Still costs no mana or life while focused, and that is how to play the build as I already explained. That's it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. If you can also join my Discord. If you want to support me and my channel so I can even buy better equipments, check my Patreon. There is like a couple of dollar package that you can just support me for, only like a $2 or $3, you know, the cheapest packages, something like that. So consider subscribing and also supporting me if you want. I will see you later. Bye bye.